Welcome to That's Pretty Neat with Rodger and Stefan, where we discuss neat, holistic, regenerative agriculture. What would you describe as healthy grazing?
I think there actually isn't a good description of what healthy grazing is, because it all depends on what your context is. So what someone in Australia needs, what someone on the top of a mountain needs, what someone on the East Coast needs are all different. And I think that's one of the major problems is everyone thinks that there's one size fits all and one method that's the perfect thing. Everyone's looking for a silver bullet. Several years ago, I was interviewed by a journalist, and he came out to my ranch in Saskatchewan. And I think I showed him 7 different styles of grazing I'd done on 800 acres just in one summer. So he thought he was coming to look at ultra high density grazing. And I showed him the ultra high density grazing, but I also showed him, okay, at this place, we completely spread the cattle out because this is what we were trying to do. So I think what is the ideal grazing? It's what are you using the livestock as a tool to accomplish? Now, within that, if you want short lawn-like grass, because that's the habitat for, let's say, an impala, they need short grass when they're calving down, when they're fawning, so that the leopards and hyenas can't sneak up on them. So that particular area, you would actually want to overgraze. You would want to keep it short. Or let's say the birds and the animals need a place to have dust baths. Well, that's a place you'd want to overrest. You'd want to leave it bare. So you would put it into your grazing planning charts that this specific area, we're not going to put any animals because we want to leave it bare. So there's an example, of where we want it overrested to stay bare, where we want it overgrazed. So for example, on my ranch, whenever I moved from one paddock to another, I always brought the herd by my front lawn. So I overgrazed my front lawn so that I didn't have to bring the lawnmower out. So whenever we transferred that way about once a week, they were only there for about 10 minutes, but 800 cows were able to do my lawn quite quickly, and then off they went down the road again. So you really can use them as a tool for whatever you need. Now, from the plant's point of view, what is ideal? What the plant finds ideal and what the animal finds ideal are not always the same, but they are fairly similar. So from an animal's point of view, you want the plant to still be growing, to be highly nutritious, and to be grazing it there. But from the plant's point of view, you want the plant to go to seed so that it's prepared for the next year. So the plant wants to fulfill its life cycle. Now, if you've got a lot of bare soil and you're trying to get more ground cover and more biodiversity and more biomass, you will make decisions to graze once your plants have gone to seed, because then the seeds go into the dung and urine and they can germinate and grow. However, if you've already got a solid mat and that's not needed, then you could graze for your animals' welfare. So there isn't an ideal. And we need to get people's heads off this belief that one size fits all and there's a silver bullet, and if you do this, the world is magic. No, it's not. We really are managing for our context how we wanted our lives to be. So, do we want the profit? Do we want, flowing rivers again? Do we want ground cover? Do we want healthy water cycles? But more importantly than that is also remember that any plant that I've looked at is generally highly nutritious for about 2 weeks of the year. So pick a name of one of the grasses you've got here.
Perennial rye.
Perennial rye. So for 2 weeks of the year, the perennial rye is what the cattle will go for no matter which paddock you want them in. It's what they really want. However, the rest of the year, they might be going for a hairy vetch or something else. But for that 2 weeks, that's what they want. Now, if you planned your whole year of grazing based on 2 weeks of highly nutritious perennial rye, the wheels would fall off. But if you've got 100 different species in your pasture, the chances that every week of the year, one of those hundreds would be in its 2-week period of being highly nutritious, well, the chances of that are much higher. So we need to get away from looking for a silver bullet. Oh, Giants Rhodes grass is the silver bullet. No. For 2 weeks of the year, it's got really good nutrition. Perennial rye, oh, it's the silver bullet. No, for 2 weeks of the year, it's the silver bullet. We need plants photosynthesizing year-round. Under the snow, they've got to be green and photosynthesizing. 9 months into a dry season, they've got to be green and photosynthesizing. We need to be making decisions for absolute biodiversity and then grazing so that those plants don't die out, letting them complete their life cycles. Did I confuse you more, or did I answer your question?
It made me excited.
Okay, good.
You can follow Rodger at d2gftf.com and also on his socials at Rodger Savory Holistic Management on YouTube and Facebook. We are Las Cumbres Ranch. You can follow us on social media at Las Cumbres Ranch over all platforms. And thanks for tuning in. It's been real neat.